Hello everybody, Ed0626 here. Welcome back to Wake Island for some of you. For me, this is my first Wake Island experience, and as I have typically done in the previous months since Battlefield 5's live service DLCs have released, I'm giving you guys my map review of Wake Island. So, without further ado, let's get right into the thick of things. The first thing that I want to talk about, as some of you may or may not know, this map is historically inaccurate. Some of you may be saying, what are you talking about? The Battle of Wake Island was actually a battle in World War II. You're right, it was a battle in World War II. However, the Japanese were not defending on Wake Island. It was the Americans who were defending on Wake Island, with the Japanese attacking from God knows how many angles. So, for me, as a history buff and as a World War II fanatic, it bothers me that once again DICE shows ineptitude towards historical accuracy in this game. Of course, historical accuracy has been something that has come into question several times over since Battlefield 5's release. I mean, it started with a robotic arm, went into the whole, the story mode missions and all that shit. People said there was a lot of historical inaccuracy, with those as well. To me, at this point, it's just laughable how something so simple can be so fucking hard for DICE to understand. To me, it bothers me to my core as a history buff and as someone who has a high respect for the U.S. military and soldiers past and present that have fought in these battles. So, and I gotta say though, there's a channel I follow called History Buffs. The guy reviews historical movies and shit. If this game was something that he would review and really dive into, I can tell you right now he'd have a fucking field day with it. Because if some of you guys know Nick Hodges from History Buffs, that guy goes in when it comes to historical inaccuracies in films, and I can only imagine what it would be like in games as well. That being said, some of the gameplay you're watching right now is on Breakthrough. In my honest opinion, Breakthrough is a very unfun experience in Battlefield 5, and I'll tell you why. If you are the defending team, you are essentially getting ass fucked 24/7 by non-stop tanks, vehicles, God knows what. It's really difficult in this game to defend, especially if your team is absolute shit. I've had some games where the enemy team did some pretty solid defenses, but in terms of what they have, the odds they have to go up against, like I said, we're talking vehicles, tanks, aircraft, all that shit. It's very, very imbalanced, for lack of better terms. There's no balance in this at all, actually. And the shitty part about this too is that DICE apparently gives you support in the game. They do have, anti-aircraft, some anti-aircraft cannons across the map. They have anti-tank cannons, like the 10-pound cannons or whatever the fuck it's called, the 6-pounders, whatever it is. I don't know the caliber of the actual blast, the actual shell, but the point I'm trying to make is they do give that to you in your base spawn. So basically, you have to grab a Jeep and have to drag that Jeep and that that anti-tank weapon, drag it across the map, use it as best to your ability, and if you die and you lose the sector, the enemy now has your anti-tank weapon. Makes perfect sense, right? Not really. And I've seen this happen before. I watched a lot of Level Caps live streams on Facebook Gaming and all that shit. I watched that and I sit there and I'm fuming. I'm literally fuming at how dumb of an idea that was for DICE to actually put that sort of stuff into the game. It annoys the ever-living shit out of me. Really, it does. Especially since, like I said, the American tanks and the American, vehicles are basically ass raping you constantly if you're on the defending team. It's really fucking annoying. you know. And what else we got here? I pretty much covered all that. You know, U.S. again, like I said, has too many vehicles. The aircraft, again, something I'm referencing from Level Cap's live streams that I've watched and a few other people's live streams. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but apparently there's like no aircraft support for, you know, the Japanese. I haven't really seen any aircraft support in Breakthrough when it comes to that. But the American aircraft, dude, they are absolutely ripping the shit out of you. If you know how to fly, this is your paradise. This map is essentially, you know, perfect for you. If you don't know how to fly, well, prepare to get fucked for an hour straight, practically, because that's exactly what this is going to be like for you. It's going to be, again, like I said, a non-stop ass-raping session. And for me, I think it would be very unfun as a mostly ground soldier to have to deal with that sort of shit. So, I mean, if you like vehicles, this map is for you. If you don't like playing against vehicles, God, you better find a different fucking game mode, because this is rough. It really is. However, with all the problems Breakthrough has, I consider Breakthrough on Wake Island to be more or less better compared to Conquest. Conquest, which is what you're watching right now, is a complete shit show. It is a complete and utter shit show as to what the fuck is going on right now, because I hate the fact that Conquest Assault is part of Conquest in this game. As someone who's played through BF1 and has been through, you know, Conquest Assault in numerous ways, I absolutely despise the concept of Conquest Assault. I don't like the idea of it existing in the game. I just don't like the overall way the game plays because of it, especially on this map. It's not fun for me. For me personally, it's not fun. If you like Conquest Assault, by all means, this is your thing. I hated it in Battlefield 1. I think it ruined a lot of the flow of some of the maps because of it. Like Caporetto, for instance. I think Caporetto was one of the maps that was horrible to play on because of Conquest Assault. And for me, it's just as horrible on Wake Island and BF5. It's just, again, it's just not a fun experience to play. In terms of the overall look of the map, the sunset is a nice touch. I do like that. You know, the way the map design actually is, it reminds me a little bit too much like Pacific Storm. Like, I get that, you know, they had to take some nuances from certain maps to make this what it is for the setting, but I'm just not feeling it. You know, I'm just not feeling the looks of this map for some reason. It's just, I think the visibility is awful. It's definitely not great. Again, it comes down to player cosmetics, and I think the way the cosmetics are in this game, everything blends into everything, and it's just one great big color shit show. Maybe my eyes just need to be checked, but I'm really, again, like, the layout of the map is, it's, you know, it's Wake Island. If you played Wake Island before, you know the deal, but there's a part of me that says I just can't see shit on this map, which is why I'm glad they added that whole 3D spotting thing, because that actually fucking helps me, because I can't see people who are apparently directly in front of me because visibility in this game is so bad. So for people that complained about the whole 3D spotting for one player or for yourself on the UI and shit, man, consider all the problems of visibility that this game has, and then come back to me with your opinions of it doesn't belong in the game. That's just me. It helped me tremendously. It helped me it's helped. If it's one thing 5.2 did that was right, it was that, in my opinion. What else? What else do I got here on my list? The cover is not great. There's very little cover in certain parts of the map. So if you wanted to snipe me across the, like, from A flag to F flag on Conquest, you basically can do that. Again, like, there's not a lot of cover. Breakthrough, not a lot of cover, depending on where you are on the map. It's bad. It's really bad. It's very flat from what other people are saying. Like, the map itself is a lot more flat than previous iterations of Wake Island. But, so, again, cover is a big issue for me on this map. And last but not least, last thing I want to touch on, for those of you who know, who've seen Jack Frag's most recent video, you know that the Krabby Rave is now a thing as a Easter egg on this map. And while it's very, very entertaining, I really do think it's fucking entertaining, it bothers me that so much effort went into something like a fucking Easter egg when basic core issues of the game are just left out, like vehicle to soldier balance, you know, shit that actually matters in a Battlefield game. I know Easter eggs are an okay part of it too, of what makes Battlefield games, but god damn it, DICE, give me a fucking break. I mean, just make a good fucking map. You know, as someone who has never played Wake Island, has heard all these things about Wake Island and its legend, for lack of better terms, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed of what DICE offered us this time around. And that's it. That's my review of Wake Island and Battlefield 5. It's not great, but it's not super terrible at the same time. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you want to see more, subscribe, and hope you guys have a great day. And as always, peace out.